spots in the house too, other than the training mat. So it's kind of like, I don't know. But I know one thing. I've been watching his little height. So they were like, we don't know if he took more of the poodle or the Shih Tzu. If he gets too tall, forget all that. He going outside.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ransom, you get to finish where you left off.
Yes. Okay. We were last talking about. One of the things that we were talking about was illegal immigration, and I was going to say, understanding as far as immigrants and illegal immigrants. And the reason why I say that, I personally talked with Hispanic immigrants, like who migrated over to this country legally. And I'm speaking about the ones specifically that are in the agriculture industries, farmers, ones that have farms, you name it, citrus, all this type of stuff, right? Now, these are family businesses that these people have built up from the time when they did migrate over here to this country. And speaking with some of these people, they being Hispanic people are upset with the illegal immigrants. Reason being, in the same industry, the same business, like the agriculture, the farming, and things like that, that the legal immigrants built up their family businesses throughout the years, throughout the decades. The illegal immigrants are coming over, participating and taking those very same jobs and those same opportunities. So I personally spoke with legal immigrants who've been here in this country for a long time, who are legal, who are 100% against illegal immigrants. So it's not that, quote unquote, if you are against illegal immigrants, you're against foreign people. That's crazy. Jacob, like you said, you've been in the military. I've been in the military. Some of my closest friends are people who are not from this country. So nobody, for the sake of argument, well, I'm not going to say nobody. Most people are not against foreign people coming to this country, but most people are against the open border policy that Joe Biden implemented over the last 4 years, which not only flooded record numbers of millions of people into this country, but also stretched resources that were already overstretched to begin with. I mean, we're at the point now to where resources that were once stretched have collapsed. New York City, for example, this was one of the most promoted, sanctuary cities. That's what it was called. So all of these sanctuary cities or whatever, New York being the one that was supposed to be the beacon of them all, now their mayor is stepping back saying, we can't do any more. We've done all we can do. Like, at a certain point, when you take in all these people into a system, a country that doesn't have infrastructure to support them, and then you don't flood them into the communities that say, hey, illegal immigration is wrong, right? Who says this? The liberals and the Democrats. But they don't flood them into the communities where Nancy Pelosi live. They flood them into the communities that's already poverty-stricken, crime-stricken. So that's my problem with illegal immigration. And quite honestly, I am personally glad that it's already starting to be cleaned up.
Is it? So here's my thing. I'll address your last point after I get through all this. One, everybody's on board with, if you come into the country, you should come in legally. I think that's the standard, right? My problem with that statement is that only for our Southern partners, Southern American partners, or is that for our European and our Asian and our Jewish partners as well? Number two, when we talk about this number that has been overinflated by the media of how many people have crossed the border during Joe Biden's term as president, if you look at the numbers, they went down continuously through his 4 years as president. Trump is actually taking credit for one of the numbers. He says that there's a difference. There's a whole thing. There's a difference in the amount of people that come in to seek asylum and the amount of people that come illegally. Trump has then broadcasted the number that came illegally, which is about 8,000, almost 9,000 people in his term as president this time, saying, look at the border crossings. And then you got the numbers from President Biden where he's including all. So 8,000 to President Biden's 35,000. He's like, oh, look, I'm doing so much of a better job. But he's not including the people that are coming here seeking asylum. He's including the people that have came and got caught crossing the border. Also, to point out, the people that were point,
the people, anybody crossing the border can claim they're seeking asylum, though. Like, by the very definition of what they're doing, they could claim they're seeking asylum,
and that's their legal right. As a foreign citizen of another country, you have the right to come to one of our points of entry and say, "Hey, I'm seeking asylum," and it's up to the U.S. government to then investigate your asylum claim and make a determination on whether or not you can come into the country or not. Now, when they cross the border, should they be apprehended? Absolutely. But what I'm saying is that the numbers are overinflated to make Trump look like he's doing such a good job when he's really not. And Biden did a much better job under immigration as well. Also,
what do you mean when you say a much better job?
Also, I would like to also point out the fact that not just a couple of months ago, I don't know if this went through anybody's memory, there was a immigration bill that was up for either being passed or not passed in the House and the Senate. And the House Republicans and the Senate Republicans said we're not going to vote for it because we can't give Joe Biden a win during an election season, which would have gave us more money at the border, more technology, more people, and more funding for the border wall that was supposed to be completed by Trump.
At the point that you're speaking of, we're already 4 years into an administration that it's no conspiracy or nobody's belief or opinion. It's factually been proven that they've let millions of people into the country, even up to that point.
There is no such thing as open borders. There has never been an open border. The United States has never said, except under Ronald Reagan, which I might add is a Republican, the devil of all devils. After him, the United States has never implemented a policy where it says our borders are open, come through. What they have done is said, you are having problems in your country. You are having people that are seeking asylum. We're not just going to simply turn them away because of where they come from. The process should be easier. It shouldn't take as long, and it shouldn't be as cost effective. And this is my last point about immigration. The same people that are here that are complaining that they came here legally and they have these businesses and the other people that are coming here illegally are taken away from their businesses. Okay, cool. We understand that you want them to come legally. But the people that have been here for 30, 40 plus years have generations of family. They have immigrants. They contribute at least $2.5 billion to Social Security, to taxes. They don't get any benefits from it. None. And they still pay their taxes. So now we criminalize them for being here 30, 20 plus years. We criminalize them for being here 30, 20 plus years. And we say, no, you're not a citizen. And we thank you for your money, but you got to go. It's messed up.
Okay, but with that being said, you're a law enforcement officer. You work by the letter of the law. You literally work in law enforcement. So by the fact that these immigrants break the law, let's start off like at the very beginning. Before we get to the asylum part, before we get to if they're going to be honorable citizens or criminals, before we get to any of that, by the very letter of the law, you've broken the law by crossing a sovereign border. That's a crime.
Is it a crime?
No. See, we're not. Forget where I stand and where you stand. I'm speaking about by the letter of the law. Is that not a crime?
It's not.
Show me a border you're going to cross in the world where you're not going to be charged criminally.
It's not.
Minus our border under the Biden policy.
So the crime that you're speaking about exactly is criminal a criminal offense. Crossing the border is not a criminal offense.
Crossing it illegally is.
Crossing the border illegally.
If it wasn't a crime, there would be no need for passports. There would be no need for you to go through customs internationally, and that's when you're traveling legally.
This is what I'll say, and I don't like to tell people this, and I don't want to give this out to the masses, but traffic violations are technically not a crime. They're what I just called them, traffic violations, right? A crime is something that I can put you in jail for. Now, crossing the border illegally. Crossing the border illegally is not a criminal offense. It is an infraction. It is an infraction on international law.
That's not true. If you from the United States border, if you cross to Canada illegally, you're going to jail. On the Canada side, other way around. On the Canadian
because you violated
the United States illegally.
Because you violated international law the same way whenever you speed on I-45 or 59 is a violation of traffic violation.
You're talking about state laws. At this point, you're talking about state laws. I'm speaking federally, and there's no.
I don't work for the federal government.
There's not a federal border you can cross in a sovereign country and not go to jail if caught. Period. Now, not a single one.
If I look it up right now and I prove you wrong,
say again.
If I look it up right now and I prove you wrong, will we table this discussion?
Yes, we will.
Prove me wrong. I challenge you to prove me wrong on this.
Okay. And while he's researching that, what are the thoughts on a lot of people saying they regret their vote for Trump? Like, what do you think is America's climate right now with all these changes? It's just not focusing on the black community or the Mexican community. It's focused on a lot of other different areas. Farmers, a lot of businesses, a lot of Republicans.
I have my answer.
Oh, wait. What was the
answer? I have my answer. And this is to your Trump's favorite friend right here. I'll tell you exactly what I typed in. Is there a country where you can cross the border without fear of being put in jail? Yes, countries like those within the Schengen area in Europe and Belarus and Russia have agreements that allow free movement and border crossing without passport or ID checks.
Okay, that's a trade agreement in Europe.
That has anything to do with trade.
No, that's a trade agreement in Europe, but we're speaking about the federal borders that govern from the United States, Canada, and Mexico. If you cross the border illegally, going from Mexico to Mexico to the United States and vice versa, if you cross the border illegally going from Canada to the United States and vice versa, you are going to jail. Like, to your point, yes, that sovereign agreement does exist in Europe. But even in Europe, that's not that agreement that you're referencing doesn't even exist amongst all of the European Union nations.
But you asked me to find the countries. You asked me to find countries where you can cross borders illegally and not have any fear of retribution, and I just did. So
you know what?
There's my point.
You know what? That's cool, Jake. I like how you a law enforcement officer. You skirting around the law. I ain't even mad.
I'm not skirting around the law on a daily basis. When I clock in tomorrow, when I go to work at 6, and I love going to work. I love arresting people. I love arresting people for drinking and driving. I love people for beating on their families. Like, that is like my number one thing. Put me on it, I'll go to it. But I don't go out, and I'll tell you, I work in a majority of the people that I deal with are Hispanic, and they are not from here. They don't have insurance, they don't have licenses, and they're driving on the road illegally. Now, if I was to do a traffic stop on everybody that I assumed, which I would be, if I was to shoot in a fish barrel, I'm gonna get the number that I want, right? If I were to do a traffic stop on every car in my area, I guarantee you, I would be doing about 50, 60 traffic stops a night, and I would be towing everybody's car, because that's the policy, right? Because these people don't belong here, quote unquote. But also, these people pay taxes. These people have children in school. These people have good paying jobs. These people have no accessibility to any type of social welfare that is an issue
now,
with you.
Disclaimer.
None of that.
When you're saying these people, you're just speaking about the people that you're encountering with.
That I'm working with on a daily basis.
I just want to say
I'm telling you, on a nightly basis, I come into at least contact with at least 20 to 30 individuals who are not from here. They can't speak any English. I can't understand them. They can't understand me. And they hand me a passport. Not a Texas ID. None of that.
Right.
So do I base my job on, well, damn, if the federal government isn't doing something about it, why should I be tasked with doing something about it?
Do you think it's fair that
to your point, I 100% agree with that. And that's the problem that everybody from Border Patrol to Customs, even on the local level, local and state police had that problem over the last 4 years because they got federal orders, executive orders, to not persecute or prosecute the majority of the illegal people that were coming across the border.
Okay.
But when the bill was put in place to implement stricter border policies, to give them more money, to give them more people, more technology, and the Republicans said we can't do this and give him a win in an election season, but again, how is that Biden's fault?
We're 4 years into it. The point that you're referencing, whether he would have won or lost at the point that you're referencing, we were already bare minimum 3.5 going on 4 years into that problem. So let's just, for the sake of argument, say yes. Even if they would have voted the Republicans would have voted them to okay the money for that bill. The problem went on. We're talking about a cut that was bleeding for 3.5 years. So now at the 4th year, we say, okay, well, yeah, we'll go ahead and put a Band-Aid on it now. At that point, you've bled to death. And that's what the problem was.
The bill came up in late 2022. That's about in real terms of a president's effectiveness, that's about 1.5 years of him being in office. Even though he's elected in 2020, in terms of his effectiveness, that's when that's really when he can be that word that I can't use right now because we're on Zoom. You understand? That bill came up in 2022. It took years because you have to get the Republicans and the Democrats to agree on what it is that they want in that specific bill and what they want to take out. That takes argument. 10, 12 months of arguing, here's the final bill. And then you don't pass the bill, but it's so important to you. It's so important to you, but you don't pass the bill because you want to give Trump the win. And I guarantee you, the same thing that Trump came in and said, we're going to do mass deportations on day one. We're still waiting for it. He says that we're going to do X, Y, and Z with immigration.
You said you're still waiting for the mass deportations?
Yeah, where are they?
Question. No, you're in Houston, right?
They've been doing them here.
Where?
So
on the north side, especially, they've been picking them up.
I'm in Colorado, Denver. They've been sweeping through Denver since, I would say, really since the January. Like I've never seen any kind of sweep like in relation to like ICE and people being deported. Like, and it's not even. Well,
I know they're picking them up, but are they actually sending them anywhere, or they're just detaining them?
I don't care about you capturing them. Right. I care about you. Are you actually going to hold true on your word? You capture them, and then you.
No, they are not only are they sending them back. Say again, Dawn.
Have you seen them send them? I have seen them detain them, but have you seen them send them anywhere?
Exactly.
No, wherever they're from, they're being sent back because it was a whole big thing earlier this year. The Democrats were making a big fuss about the money that it was costing to send them back to where they were from.
Then it's detainment. So this is the largest detainment that you've seen.
The largest detainment, but we don't have the infrastructure.
Think about it. If you go scoop up one person tonight or 10,000, you're doing that today. Obviously, you're going to need some place to hold them at least today to where you process them.
No. Absolutely, and that was the whole argument over mass deportations in the first place. We don't have the infrastructure to hold these people. We don't.
Here's where I disagree. The money that they were claiming, the money that the Democrats were claiming that it was going to cost to over the next, I would say year or two, but I want to say over the next year, the money that they were making a big fuss saying, hey, it's going to cost X amount of dollars to detain and process and send these individuals back to their country. Well, the truth is, we spent that tenfold by putting them in the communities that were already strapped for resources. We've spent more money than that by putting them in 5-star hotels in places that people who work 40 hours a week can't pay to get in.
Okay,
but we don't talk about that aspect of where our tax dollars are being spent when it comes to immigration.
Last 7 minutes. I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes each to do a wrap up on where do you think America's heading? What do you think the Trump voters are feeling right now? And if you had to do a progress report before April 30th, which would be the 100th day for Trump being in office, tell me about the progress report you have for him right now. 3 minutes each. Go.
You want to go first or you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first.
Well, one, thank you for having me. So I haven't talked about politics in a long time, so it's rejuvenating in a sense. This is what I'll say. I think that Trump continuously goes out and says that he was elected with a mandate to change, a mandate to do things differently. And he comes in here and he's toting the same thing that he was doing in 2016 or 17 when he was officially president. He's toting fear-mongering policies, things that continue to keep the rich richer and the poor poorer, and nothing actually that's going to affect the lives positively of those like you and me. What does DEI policies have to do with improving the lives of average American citizens? Why can't you give us a really good answer on what Elon Musk is really doing? You say that you're saving X amount of money, but let's say it's a $320 million contract, and this is facts. I'm just using numbers on top of my head. We've already paid $319 million of that, so you're saving us $2 million. You're not doing the things that you said you were going to do, and I'll give him credit. You're not even at your 100-day mark, but you're sitting in office. You're signing pointless executive orders to make yourself look good, to say promises told, promises kept, but you're not doing anything. Eggs are still expensive. Cost of living is still expensive. You still don't have a plan on how it is that you want to replace Obamacare. You still don't have a plan on how it is that we're going to fix Social Security. You still don't have a plan on how it is that we're going to continue to job growth. And you continuously bash other countries who could help us in those aspects. So I think the Trump supporters right now, I'm praying for you. Honestly, I know you're racking your brain. How the hell could I vote for this dude for the 4th time? I said the same thing myself. But, he's only going to be president for the next 3.5 years. Things are going to get better. And he'll be out of there. I think that they're regretting their vote because he's not doing exactly what he said he was going to do. And J.D. Vance is also a brainless idiot.
Okay.
And then also, if you just look at the state of the nation, whenever Trump is president, it's weight on your shoulder. We're all depressed and we all hate each other. And that's because of the ignorance and the hatred that comes out of the White House. So honestly, like I said, ever since the election, I haven't been paying attention. And I think that right now I'm in a observatory mode. I'm observing what happens. And I can't wait for the Hispanic men that voted for him, for their families to get deported. I can't wait for these farmers to lose their land. I can't wait for us to go into recession, which we're already heading into. I can't wait for the DEI policies that he's trying to cut to fail when he cuts them. I can't wait, because this is going to be a I told you so moment. And I'm going to use that in every aspect. I told you so. You're an idiot and you're poor.
Okay. Ransom?
Well, I want to start by saying, in regard to the people who voted for Trump or support Trump, if you talk to a lot of those individuals, See, I'm a little bit confused as to where I'm hearing like a negative vibe, because if you really want to be honest, everybody who I know who voted for Trump and everybody who I know that support Trump, they couldn't be happier and more pleased as to what's going on in the country collectively. Everything, like, for example, Jacob spoke about people are trying to figure out what Elon Musk is doing. They've literally told they've told you verbatim what Elon Musk is doing, but people are trying to find every other excuse other than what they are literally saying. They're literally saying, "Hey, Elon Musk is the head of this department called Doge because we know that the government have been spending tax dollars illegally." They found the illegal tax dollars, found the spending, and the people who vote Democrat, the liberals, are mad at the person who found the spending, and it's like they're condoning the fact that the money was being spent inefficiently, which is crazy to me. And when you speak about quote unquote the weight of the country, I think if a person feels like their shoulders are heavy just because of who's in office, they're already an inefficient loser in the first place. Because how productive could you be? Because you've not. So you're saying that these same people who were productive, efficient people prior to Trump being in office again, they were productive, efficient people, but now they're going to be depressed and down in the dumps. Granted, to your point, those people do exist, and I see them. So that's why I can say, like, we find excuses and place the blame too many times where it shouldn't be placed. And I would say overall, from the fact that we're finding money that's been spent inefficiently, our money, our tax dollars. I like the way he's performing with the situation that's going on in the Ukraine. Biden has given Zelensky and Ukraine hundreds of